The Milwaukee Bucks bucked around and found out against the Phoenix Suns, who picked up a big win on the first of a 6-game road trip behind Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Royce O'Neale's crazy second half. We've got a fun PHNX Suns postgame show coming up right after this. Psychos and sickos unite for a how the hell did Bam Adebayo drop 83 points edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show, coming to you live from downtown Phoenix. I'm Eric, that's Gil, we got Espo, Steven, and of course the freckled mama behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. A full house as the Phoenix Suns put on a beating with the Milwaukee Bucks, 129-114. They were hitting shots and starting hot on their 6-game road trip. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because man, it feels good to be a Phoenix Suns fan.
And it feels good to have each and every one of you in the chat. Joseph, Maysdevil, Leah, Deborah, Buddha the Schizo, Eric's dad's in there.
What's up, Dad?
Everybody is in the house. Math of the Power Joe. Glad to have each and every one of you here. Hit that like button for the big W. Throw the W's in the chat as well if you're a Supporters Club member.
You know what feels good to say real quick?
Go ahead.
The Suns are 38-27.
They're 11 games above 500 in the middle of March.
And you know what? I believe they're only a game back of the Denver Nuggets.
Don't look now.
The Avalanche.
Yeah. We will definitely take a look at the standings tomorrow. We got another
if he comes, he clearly is
Wow.
back. Yeah.
I called it. I just
But
want to put that out
Creepsticky's not
there.
in the thumbnail, though. That's right. Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do. We know that there's a lot of implications with this game, big picture stuff, Western Conference stuff. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Tonight, we're breaking down the Suns' massive win over the Milwaukee Bucks behind a lot of great performances, but we've got to start with Devin Booker and Jalen Green combining for 52 points, had over 50% of the Suns' points at halftime. Steven, you are really starting to see the vision here with a Booker and Green backcourt. Not only did they scored efficiently tonight.
They did, and they both scored by their own doing of being that first domino to get things rolling. But because of the tone that they set with also being more than willing to get off the basketball, you end up with a result of 33 assists. But you also end up with the result of them being the benefits of the ball finding its way back to them. And now you see Devin countering the Bucks' late help with middies, and to the point where the late help just doesn't matter because he's at that in-between spot. And then Jalen is getting into some of these small ball lineups, and there's just all types of open space for him to operate in, and he's able to find paint touch after deep paint touch after trip to the free throw line. And now it gets to the point where it's a blend of both of these things happening in succession with the rest of the team just moving the basketball time after time. It genuinely felt like Milwaukee was chasing defensive possessions pretty much for the majority of the game because of how willing the Suns were able to move the ball tonight.
You bring up that 26 assist mark. They crossed that line, the SPG line.
21 and 2.
I mean,
when they get to that number.
Crazy how that is a direct barometer when that ball's moving with this offense, how much it opens up things for this entire team. And you keep bringing it up, Gil, that you know, Jalen's kind of the starter going in there, gets the offense going. Book winds up contributing and coming in after that and doing his thing. Tonight, I mean, it was all around just good offense from both of them. They shot a combined 20 of 41, so slightly under 50%, but they were good from deep. They both added rebounds and assists on the board. They both played solid defense. Like, this was what they were kind of envisioning when they put the backcourt together, like Eric was saying, and we're starting to see how it makes sense.
That pitching analogy is exactly what came to mind tonight. I think Jalen Green scored the first 12 points for the Suns tonight. So it was even broken down to that first quarter where he got it going immediately for this team. And what I saw, though, because Book finished the quarter with 7 points, they combined for 21 points and 4 assists in the first quarter. And they were 21 of the 36 points that the Suns had. But you're kind of seeing it be less rigid, and they're kind of blending in together, where I think the more time and the more reps they get playing alongside one another from the beginning of the game, you're going to start seeing it be even more broken down to like, oh, this play or this series of plays might be for Jalen, the next series might be for Book, and then it's just very fluid, and opposing defense is just going to be on their heels, not really knowing which one is going to hurt you on any given possession. And again, you mix Dillon Brooks back in there, you can get him back in the lineup as well. This offense is going to be really potent. Scored 36 in the first quarter, finally won a first quarter again, and finished with 129 in the game.
Well, and Gil, when you say fluid, I think that's the word that kind of comes to mind for me the most, because when you give the analogy of the pitching or the starting and the closing, it's kind of like taking turns. I think sometimes that can turn into your turn, my turn, right? Which is not good, right? Because it's like, okay, you're not playing team basketball. You're not playing in the flow. Okay, you go get yours, I'll go get mine. But in this sense, it was like natural. It's like, hey, if you're open, go for it. If you want to get going, we're going to find you. But guess what? When it's my turn, I'm going to take advantage of it. And the way that they can bring pressure off of each other. And the difference in this game was in the second half when other players started to get a little bit more involved and started to hit some threes, like a Royce O'Neale, like a Collin Gillespie. But really, they were only benefiting off of each other's gravity in that first half because they were both playing so well. They were also both getting to the free throw line at the beginning of the game. Not huge free throw numbers at the end of it, but 7 of 17 from deep for them. And neither of them played over 35 minutes tonight as well. It was very balanced. It was very like not your turn, my turn, but very fluid, like you said. And it's so nice to see this come together, and it's nice to see Jalen specifically turn that corner and to have a 10 of 20 shooting night for 25 points. That's a big deal given where he was a week ago.
The other number I was going to say that stands out to me, 33 minutes too. We're not even making people about his workload is getting where it needs to be for playoff mode as far as that goes too.
Well, and they're finding it in the flow of the offense.
Yes.
Like, it's not two guys forcing shots at all. It's two guys that are operating while the ball's moving, finding them, making the right calls. Like that's the important thing with both of them, to your point there, Eric, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. But there's an aggressiveness to both of the way that they've been playing lately, and when they hit that, along with some of the other guys stepping up in the defensive intensity that they're bringing, it seems dangerous even without their full deck of cards.
Yeah, they are, and again, it's just that fine balance of, like you said, not being your turn, my turn, both guys being equally aggressive. But there's a little bit more of Jalen searching for his early on, and that's setting the tone for them different than them kind of playing their complementary basketball early on. It feels like having a little bit of an identity to start a game. I equated it to Chris Paul with DeAndre Ayton. You get Ayton involved early, you get the benefits of him being mentally engaged that much that early on offense on the defensive end and through the middle quarters and later in the game. Same with Jalen, not necessarily the mental engagement part, but his game rhythm. When you let a scorer get their game rhythm early, the decisions they make and the reaction is going to get out of the defense, there's game-long domino effect that comes from that, and I think that's some of what they're kind of enjoying right now with Jalen.
Steven, can you talk a little bit about how these two guys that we talk so much about offense are also defending their asses off, especially in this Suns scheme that's still defending well without Dillon Brooks and Mark Williams?
Yeah, I mean, the culture bit is something that everybody within an ecosystem understands are both non-negotiables and their true route to success. So there's really nothing to talk about there. That's the barometer, and if you're not meeting that standard, like Dillon Brooks said, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb. So those guys, Devin played a literal piece in establishing that, and Jalen is someone who's underrated on that part and can do more than just show effort, and I feel like we've been seeing effort with impact from him. And he's been engaged on that end of the floor. He hasn't been a negative. So those guys buying into that allows for them to play in different lineups where teams can't say, we're going to involve these guys because they can't defend. They might do it because they want to eat away at their legs or put them in foul trouble, but it won't be because of a lack of ability or effort.
And that's not normal for stars. Like, that's the thing is,
most teams have somebody you could poke at.
Right, and for Jalen, he was a part of a really good defense last year for sure. But when you look at Book, I think one of the big things, Espo, that we were lamenting last season was it felt like one of the worst defensive seasons of Book's career. And that was rough because he was coming off of an Olympics. It's like, oh man, like you felt good about where he was. And then at the end of the day, it was like he just was a little lackluster on that side of the ball. There were multiple times this game where he was sliding his feet, staying in front of his man, and they had nowhere to go.
Yeah, last year team defense sucked.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like there was nobody playing defense around him, and so it can make a guy overall look bad because if he knows nobody's behind him to help, it changes the mentality. If he knows the guys around him aren't busting their ass on defense, it's tough, and you see him playing at a high level with Team USA. Well, yeah, he's got all the superstars around him there, but this year it's a team defensive mentality. Everybody's out there busting their ass, and he's one of those guys, and he's saying, I'm no better than anybody else. I'm going to come out here and work just as hard and try to be just as effective on the defensive end, and it's showing, and it's tough. Everybody has to go out there and do that. And we talked about Dillon setting that mindset, but that's the team now. And you add more guys into that mix like Highsmith and Coffey and even Rasheer getting minutes. That's the way the DNA is for these guys, and Book is just one of them.
Yep. It's so important, Espo, when you mention that when guys around you aren't loafing, you can trust them to make up for you if you make a mistake by going too hard or playing too hard, overplaying something. You take a chance because you know somebody else has your back. And these guys are taking chances and they're taking calculated risks. It's not that many times where you see guys fish and miss or play themselves out of the play, but everybody's doing everything at 100, 105, 110% on that end of the floor, and also recognizing that makes life easier on the offensive end of the floor. The flow is continuous on both sides for this team, and that is exactly what this team's identity has been, and they're just leaning in further into it as they get healthier.
Guys, can we talk about it?
Sorry,
go ahead. You go first.
What's that?
Can we talk about it?
Okay. Well, before we get to it,
yeah.
Milwaukee had 30 points in each quarter going into the fourth. They only scored 17 on 35% from the field. Like, that's a team that has an identity and knows that when you have to press that button, as we'll get to shortly, they have ways, multiple, in which they can go about getting that done. That really says a lot about this team. But to the point of the two guys we're speaking to, you can't get to that if those guys aren't bought in and wanting to execute on that end. And that's why they get the result that they do tonight.
There was a play in this game that completely took over the internet before Bam Adebayo did it. That's our Love the Play, presented by our friends over at Arizona Lottery. Play and gift today. Ousmane Dieng, where are you going, brother? Bye-bye. You're off the screen. Jalen Green breaks his ankles, points at him before he takes the shot, hits the shot, but the Love the Play was the bench reactions afterwards. Dillon Brooks pointing, Grayson Allen smiling, Ryan Dunn and Mark Williams losing their mind. Amazing.
You had Come On doing he had a little shimmy going.
Is that the play of the season?
It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there. I don't know if you can trump a game winner.
That's
especially
fair.
Against
a non-game winner play of the season.
But then that eliminates one of the
Let me enjoy this.
They've had a few.
Actually, you can't count the game winners.
And Jalen now has two of them. He had the game winner.
Yeah.
Against Orlando.
He did.
That lob.
And then this play.
Oh, the game winner against Orlando.
Winner against Orlando. This play.
And then he had that lob against, I believe, Sacramento.
So
which is crazy.
I'm not sure he was pointing at the defender. I think he was calling the kid that wipes the floor, going, "That's the marking," and then hit it. Yeah, wipe that up.
Maybe he was calling for a screen.
Yeah.
I'll just say, imagine getting made fun of for saying a game winner should be valued more than a crossover in the first quarter, the first handful minutes of the game.
Come on.
Yeah, how dare you actually rate things appropriately?
The thing is, you're right, but it was very actually, because dude, this is just fun, man.
I mean, he was correct.
I didn't say
the game winner was equally as much. Should have been equally as much.
Excuse me, but that doesn't count. It's only game winners that should count.
That's exactly what I'm saying. No.
Yes.
When stuff like that happens, right? And when you see the bench reaction and you see kind of like Jalen with the confidence. We've been talking about this confidence building with him. It just kind of seems like a highlight, but slow build, Gil. You talk about how he played, 33 minutes tonight. We've seen him go up and go for dunks. We've seen him cross over, get to the paint just like a second faster than he was getting there before. And now he's doing stuff like pointing at a guy before taking a shot when 3 or 4 games ago, he couldn't hit a shot with nobody around him anyway. And so we've seen now this confidence progress with Jalen Green. And I don't think that is in small part because of the confidence that this team instills in him from that Orlando game, Espo, where he hits the game winner and the teammates are telling him that next one's going to go in, or the coaching staff still allowing him to go out there with free reign after he was not playing up to his own standards or the team standards. This is why you do that, because when you install confidence into a guy like Jalen Green, you don't just get 25 points on 10 of 20 shooting. You get highlight plays like that completely break the internet.
Yeah. It reminds me so much in the bench reaction to what we talked about a lot with him being engaged, even when he was so frustrated with all the time that he missed, when he was so happy for everybody else's success, and how, Steven, I know you said it multiple times, you invest that and deposit that good will with your team, and it will come back to you tenfold. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now with them cheering for him, with them believing in him and instilling confidence in him through the rough spots. And the big part of the rough spots that you talked about also was that a lot of it was when Devin Booker wasn't around, which was your main concern at first, Espo, him having to force or press or do too much because he didn't have the running mate who everything was planned with that pairing in mind. Now we're seeing the pairing. Now they're getting their bearings together and learning how to play off of one another and pick their spots. Who has the pigeon? Are you comfortable? Whatever it is that they're doing as two prolific scorers, they're figuring it out in real time. And plays like this, the alley-oop and all these things that we're seeing are just a manifestation of all of this that's been in play weeks, months in the making. And we're going to see more and more of it throughout this trip, throughout the rest of the season, and in the postseason as well.
Can I get the 2-shot? I want to talk to the internet for a second.
Oh, Lord.
He said no.
No, look, dear internet, I want to say this. For those of you that were pounding the table and talking to a microphone or just typing on your keyboard or on your phone saying Jalen Green should be on the bench. Jalen Green is a second unit player. Jalen Green is a glorified 6-man. Still feeling that way? Still think he shouldn't be the number 2 option on this team? Still think that when he's next to Devin Booker, he can't be that guy? You just ain't watching basketball. Sorry for putting you in there, Steven.
I mean, true. That's very true.
Been
seeing a lot of what feels like very reactionary responses to guys' play in this recent stretch for the Suns. I would just advise to be patient before making these definite kind of declarations on a guy's ability to impact the team, especially when you're looking at them in a withered format versus it being the team being even close to healthy and whole.
Wait, you mean 10 games is too small of a sample size to make large judgments? Is that what you're saying?
Small. We like to refer to it as small sample size theater.
Well, and I will say, I think it's fair to point out when it's like, hey, this guy had a bad game. Hey, this was bad. Hey, this needs to be fixed. Hey, this is trending in this direction. Like that is completely understandable and fair. But there is then the step too far of like, well, this guy just sucks, right? Like
it's okay to have a slump without sucking. Like you can just be below what your expectation level is, or even bad, but doesn't mean that you suck. Like as a definite. Devin Booker started this season with one of the worst 3-point shooting seasons in the history of the game, especially for a superstar going into All-Star break. Is he just a terrible 3-point shooter now? No, that's not what the case is.
Well,
he had a slump.
Yeah, we live in a world where everything is in the moment. And look, Jalen Green is an inconsistent player.
For sure.
And that is still true, but you can't just say, you know what, shouldn't be in a starting lineup or shouldn't be this. Like, he is a number 2 guy on this team, maybe 2.5, depending on when Dillon's there. And sometimes those guys can be inconsistent. It's why they're not the number 1. It's why in Houston, him being the number 1 option wasn't palatable because he is inconsistent. And that is okay for a young guy. But when he's next to Book and they're both playing well, you're going to have a tough time stopping.
Dare I say that's what a team is.
That's why you're the context.
That's a great point.
I didn't even think about that till now.
And thinking about inconsistency too, that is almost comes with the territory of being a young volume scorer in the league. And you oftentimes grow out of that. That's a part of the process of him figuring things out. A unique journey to the league, playing with G League Ignite, going to a Rockets franchise that had a lot of issues when they were coming out of the era that they were coming out of. And they still, some might say, and he was thrust into that position to be the number one when he probably wasn't ready for that yet. Like, let's face it, he just turned. There are guys in college basketball older than Jalen Green right now, which is probably a different problem in itself.
I was gonna say that's not going nowhere. No,
that's a different problem.
There's a few coaches younger than his girlfriend too. So.
Probably yes, definitely so, including Jordan Knott. But that being said, I think this is just a part of the journey and the process as far as that goes. With like, look, the inconsistency is going to come with it, but the highs are so high, and there's a guy next to him named Devin Booker who is going to make some of those issues less of an issue. To where as he continues to get to further part in his league, get his legs under him more, and maybe, play 20, 25 games this season, a lot of those inconsistencies and issues won't seem as serious or as big as they did when he was still fresh on the court.
As Be Calm See Clearly so wisely states in their $2 super chat, thank you, Be Calm, says, see what happens when Green shakes it for me? And I think that is the missing piece to all of
Isn't Gil supposed to read those?
I'll get
the next one.
It was just it flowed well.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts on Green, Booker before we get into our dude of the night, our blue collar boys of the night?
I want to know, do you believe that that's disrespectful what he did, or an okay part of the game?
The point?
The point.
It's awesome.
I'm sure that will be part of the discourse.
I haven't seen a single person say that it's not the most part of the game.
We haven't seen the morning shows on an ESPN. I mean,
Steven, do you have an urban
about talking about the Suns?
Man, I'm from Chicago. I wish I would say something about somebody getting pointed at as they're falling to touch earth. No, pick yourself up. If you don't want to get pointed at,
don't fall.
Don't fall.
It's like the Wizards. If you don't want somebody to drop 80 on you, like, don't
guard.
Don't decide to start defending once he has 77. Like,
stop him from 30 in the first quarter.
My only problem with it was I wish I could have done that to somebody back in the day. Dude, that's just fun.
It's the dream. The only time
a crossover and seeing somebody fall is like a top tier ethereal type feeling.
The only time that I've ever done that, I was playing one-on-one with a friend and he fell to the ground and I was so in shock that I stopped for like 2 seconds where I shot the ball and I shot it and he got up and blocked me. He literally touched the ground and I was like, what the hell? And then he got up and blocked me. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about our dudes of the night, our blue collar boys of the night, and the Phoenix Suns taking down the Milwaukee Bucks 129-114 behind a whole lot more players than Devin Booker and Jalen Green. And we're going to talk about them on the other side of our first break.
Oh, got to tell you about our friends at Circle K. Big fuel day coming up on Thursday. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you that yet, but it's happening. 40 cents off per gallon all day at participating locations. You know how you get in on that? You take out your phone, you download the Circle K app right now. You put in a little bit of information and bam, no pun intended, you are part of the inner circle right now. You're going to save 25 cents off your first 5 fill-ups. And then you're going to save 3 cents off per gallon after that. Then you're going to save 5 cents off per gallon when you hit the Freckle Mamba level. And you know what? You're going to want to do it for even more great deals like 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, some great deals on what they like to call the meal matrix, which I found out isn't what they actually call it. They just wrote that in our ad copy, so don't ask for it. But you can get great deals on food as well. So make sure to head over to Circle K, download the Circle K app today for free. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. And the husband and wife law team. If you've had a serious injury due to an accident or, God forbid, a wrongful death that has happened, you need to do your research when it comes to getting a lawyer. And if you do that research, it's going to lead you to Mark and Alexis Pryor, the husband and wife law team. I can tell you that for a fact. I did not do my research when I was in this situation, and it made the whole experience even worse than the accident. That's how bad it was. It was like a 3-year process that did not get done efficiently. But with the husband and wife law team, they guarantee you that you can get in touch with your lawyer at any time. They also are believers in making sure that you get more money in your pocket than goes to their bottom line. Plus, they're part of the 1% that is certified in wrongful death and in serious injury accidents with the Arizona bar. And so you're going to want to get with the husband and wife law team and call them first at 602-783-8841 or visit their link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us in chat today. We got AJ, we got Craig, we got Terrence, we got my beautiful wife, Megan. Hello, Megan. And all of you need to come out on March 19th as the Phoenix Suns take on the San Antonio Spurs. It's our second to last watch party of the season. It's the final game of the 6-game road trip. 5 p.m. tip-off in 9 days from now, and you can come hang out with us at Wild Horse Pass, have some great food, have some great drinks. You can go to gophnx.com/events for more details on that, and go to gophnx.com/join for a nice little offer here, an intro offer, limited time only, free agency frenzy, $36 to become a diehard for the year. Access to our diehard Discord, access to exclusive written content like Steven's Notebook. That's up at gophnx.com right now, plus exclusive video content and everything, not just from a Suns perspective, but from ASU, U of A, Cardinals, whatever it is, Diamondbacks as that season rounds around too. We've got you covered. Go become a diehard. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to gophnx.com/join.
Do me a favor.
Okay.
There are almost 300 of you in here. There's only 59 likes.
What?
I need 150. I don't need. It's impossible for you not to do it before the end of the show. Give me 150. We won't have any problems. If you don't, we're gonna have some problems.
Got to get that points per possession up. This is disgusting.
We don't
You
want
cannot
to
have less likes than Bam at points. Like, that's just crazy.
We gotta get it up, y'all.
Well, look,
Phrasing.
let's talk about
The likes, man.
our dude of the night.
Christ.
Presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
Crazy.
Visit playatgila.com for more details. It's obvious. It had to be one guy. It had to be
I mean, come on.
Shout out, Bam.
Adebayo.
Man.
I mean, are you serious? Are you serious, Bam Adebayo? I mean, we saw somebody just score the second most points in NBA history tonight. Bam Adebayo against the Washington Wizards. In case you missed it, 83 points on, get this, 20 of 43 from the field, 7 of 22 from deep, and 36 of 43 from the free throw line.
I mean, we had it dual screen, and there was a good probably 4 minutes of that Suns game that everybody was locked in on watching Bam go for this. Because, you know, when you think NBA history, you think Wilt, you think Kobe, and you think Bam, and not in that order.
Wrong order. I was about to say, you think
Yeah.
Bam. We're not going to spend too much time on this because obviously this is a Suns podcast, but this is basketball history.
Yes.
Just your thoughts on Bam scoring 83 points.
It's wild to say. I tweeted about it, but, you know, we just passed the 20th anniversary of Kobe scoring 81, and for so long we were like, is it going to be Steph that does it? Is he going to have a heater? Is it going to be Donovan Mitchell? Is it going to be Devin Booker? Like, what guard is it going to be? We never considered it would be a big man, Bam Adebayo. And I know that people, I saw a tweet, I love the tweet. It said, an unethical 83 is greater than an ethical game where you don't score 83.
Yeah,
I don't care. He had 83
70,
points.
that isn't the case. Book's still paying the price.
Yeah.
He had
for an
83 points in an
unethical
NBA game, and he had 31 in the first quarter. He was on. He had a great night, and it was really cool to see the emotion. He shared the moment with Asia Wilson and his mom. So I'm really happy for Bam Adebayo. Shout out to him.
Yeah. Hopefully, this gets more of a lens on Bam than what preceded tonight, because Bam's been no worse than a top 7 defender for the past 5 seasons. He doesn't have enough hardware to show for how great of a defender he's been, especially in the modern sense. Now, obviously, him scoring what he did tonight, that shifts the perspective on what it is that he's doing. And I think that also kind of just speaks to, again, just how good he is, because for as great of a defensive player he's been, he's also grown leaps and bounds offensively. And I think his ability to be the hub for an offense to these extents, like, this just speaks to how great he is, while also speaking to the Wizards, just question mark.
Exactly.
Can I address one other thing?
Please.
It's a weird night in sports.
Yes.
And I'm torn in half right now. Because in the World Baseball Classic, Italy is up 8-1 in the bottom of the 6th against the United
Oh my God, we're
States.
frauds.
Wow.
And Italy's 2-0.
This is karma
Just
for
saying.
Cal Raleigh not shaking or
Randy,
Zarang his hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, that doesn't matter. My one stat, and trust me, I'm not trying to diminish this at all. I just find this fascinating. Bam Adebayo made as many free throws tonight as the Washington Wizards attempted threes. 36 attempts from deep for the Wizards. 36 makes at the free throw line for Bam Adebayo.
That's sick.
I'm surprised it wasn't against the Suns that he got.
Yeah, fair enough. But
Also
for
very
real, though,
true.
we actually have a dude of the night presented by Gila for the Suns game. It's not Jalen, and it's not Book. It's our guy, your guy, everybody's guy, Big Meal Royce O'Neale. 21 second half points, 21 points overall, 7 of 11 from deep, 7-11 from the field, 6 of 8 from deep in the third quarter. That helped them keep pace with the Bucks. Also added 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a beyond half court buzzer beater at the end of the third. This is a guy that was going into the half 0 of 1 from the field. And he ends with 21 points and 7 of 11 from deep.
This is a guy that heard the noise.
The watch along, people were like, "Why is Royce playing at all?"
He must have been tuned into the watch along like Jalen Brown was tweeting in the locker room.
Royce sucks. Why? Okay, well, that's why you have Royce out there, because he does all the little things, and then he can go on an unbelievable heater and hit 6 3-pointers in a quarter and start to tilt that scale in your favor.
I mean, he went 7 for 10 in the second half.
That's crazy.
7 for 10 in the second half, man. And I also want to continue to also point out with the defense was there for him tonight when they needed it in pockets, and that's particularly against Giannis. You need guys. One of the keys was defend Giannis without fouling him. How many free throws did Giannis take tonight? 5. That if you're doing that on any given night against Giannis, you're doing something very well, even if he does score 40 points from the field.
He had 3 of those in the first quarter.
Correct. Even more to that point. So that shows that they got better with the game plan and the execution of it as that game went on. Royce O'Neale does not get enough credit for the connective things he does. The three-point shooting is the plot tonight, but the subplot continues to be the ancillary things, the marginal things. Just simply being solid defensively. Not necessarily locking someone down because he didn't spend every possession guarding them, but helping set that tone for other guys when they do switch on him to pick up the baton off of with that. Royce O'Neale is very, very, very valuable to this team, and that's why they've got to win tonight in the ways in which they did.
The thing I think about with him scoring the way he scored or shooting the way he shot tonight, it's not reasonable to expect him to go 7 for 11
Yes,
for 3
it
every
is.
game. I mean, maybe we should readjust our expectations. But the threat of knowing if we sleep on defense and don't make our right rotations, that guy will make us pay.
Yep.
And he might not make 7 threes for another couple games, and he could make 5+ again. I'm pretty confident in saying he's going to make 4+ in another game before this season is over. Maybe 5+, maybe 6+.
He will do it in a play-in or playoff game.
He's gonna do it in a big moment. And the threat of him being able to do that is what makes life easier for everybody else on the court, whether it's the big man having the lane to kind of dive the way he's diving, and whether it's Book and Collin and Jalen Green having the space to operate that they want to operate. Royce O'Neale, that connective piece of that he can be with his shooting ability and his basketball IQ, being the veteran that he is why he's so important to this team. And sometimes, and it's what I said yesterday about him, there have been games where we're like, man, Royce won this game for us. But there is very rarely a time where it's like, man, he lost it for us. Maybe you could say we wanted more from him. But tonight was one of those nights where, look, you don't know where you are without Royce O'Neale. And it's really good that on a night where Kyle Kuzma makes 6 threes, your guy makes 7 to outdo him a little bit and equalize that.
Big Meal versus Big Kuz.
By the way, good call.
Yeah, we were on point with
that.
I will say this as somebody who would never forget
Shame on y'all.
Royce O'Neale's game-winning shot against the Los Angeles Lakers. Would
Game
never
winning
forget.
shots don't count.
Would
Yeah.
never forget that shot.
And especially not for one crossover in the first. Yeah,
No, I would never forget that
Well,
shot.
actually, I never forgot that.
I would like that on the record. Thank you. I will say, man, this dude has such high highs and does have a lot of strengths. And just because there are other guys on the team that maybe have some strengths that Royce doesn't have, like a Rasheer or a Highsmith when it comes to different parts of defense or athleticism or kind of the frame, Royce is clearly the best shooter, is the oldest guy on the team, and I say that as a compliment because he's not like 45 years old, but he's a vet, man. He's been around. He's been playing in the playoffs. He's been playing in the NBA for a long time as an undrafted player, and he has survived, right? So he's not scared of any shot, and sometimes maybe you want him to be scared of some shots, but it pays off on nights like tonight. It wasn't like, okay, the Suns win by 15, right? They have a 29-point to 17-point fourth quarter. It wasn't like 3 or 4 of those threes came in the fourth quarter when the Suns ran away. 6 of the 7 threes came in the third quarter when the Suns needed it the most, because guess what happened at the beginning of the second half? Milwaukee came out and Miles Turner magnet ball, Kyle Kuzma magnet ball, double-digit lead for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Suns kind of felt like they were in purgatory a little bit, and they needed a jolt, and Royce O'Neale came in and absolutely delivered. And then again, that not full court, but like three-quarter court buzzer beater to end the quarter was massive, because they still weren't winning. They didn't have a 10-point lead, and they were able to ride that momentum into the fourth quarter where they shut Milwaukee down. Huge game from Royce O'Neale tonight, and he's done it a lot this season.
I think you brought it up on the watch along, how this very much felt like a playoff game. Now I know the Bucks aren't a playoff team, but just kind of that feel of back and forth a little bit, that there were metaphorical punches exchanged.
Metaphorical
punches exchanged. And the Suns had to weather it. Jordan had to counter move a couple things, and then they pulled away, even though the Bucks were on like an all-time heater through 2.5 quarters, right? And they weathered that. They held out on that, and then they came back and they answered it. It did very much feel like that.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be like in the playoffs. You're going to try to take things away, and as you work to take something away, that means you open up an outlet for other things to happen. If you're saying that you want your defense to shift in accordance with the touches of Giannis in the half court, that means you're going to be conceding rotations and threes and catch and shoot or +1 passes to the backside. That's what we saw Milwaukee execute off of through the first, 3.5 quarters, essentially. Yeah. They were on a season best type of heater, and Kyle Kuzma in particular just lost his mind at the worst possible timing for the Suns. But again,
he looked at himself in the mirror and realized how he looked and said, I got to do something to make people like me.
No, for sure, especially coming off of those DNP CDs that he was working with. But nonetheless, the Suns are able to just weather the storm, just continue to stay within arm's reach, if not still have the lead themselves amidst that heater that the Bucks were working with at that present moment. And then they find that outlet to really stamp things, bridging the gap between the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, which we'll talk about soon. And then Royce O'Neale comes through with timely shots right before that to help start that.
Especially on the road, when you think about how playoff games are going to feel, and the Bucks probably aren't going to play in the postseason this year, but guess what? They have one of the best players in the world, and again, one of the best players to ever play the game. And you think about game plans and what you try to take away and what you're living with, and we joke and talk about how well Kyle Kuzma played or what have you, but I'm taking it anytime. He took more shots than Giannis. He took 3 more shots than Giannis. And I look at this coming into the game, if we say, hey, Kyle Kuzma is going to shoot the ball more than Giannis tonight, I feel really good about how that game is going to turn out. And Kyle Kuzma made the most of those opportunities, but the way things are set up and the way the league is set up, your best guy 9 times out of 10 needs to be the guy getting those opportunities. And there shouldn't be a time where Kyle Kuzma is the guy who might have taken the most shots in the game. Yeah, he and Devin Booker took the most shots in the game. So that's probably a part of the game plan that you will live with, and it's something that we'll probably see the Suns replicate with their strategies as they move on, because you're going to play a lot of teams with that level of talent in the postseason, regardless of who you're matched up with and how are you going to take them out and who you're going to try to make other guys beat you, and see what happens when that happens.
I will say this. Thanks to Kyle Kuzma for getting Devin Booker to really lock in and want to score there in the third, because it felt like Kyle got going a little bit and Dev was like, no.
A little Michigan battle right there.
I'm going to say real quick to Gil's point, look at all of the teams in that top 7 in the Western Conference right now. Each one of those teams has a Batman and a Robin, if that's the phrasing that you want to use. So you're going to have like, those guys' Robins are going to be a lot better than Kyle Kuzma. But it's going to be nice where you have to choose who you're trying to take off the table and whose water you have to just live with if they're making shots, knocking down shots, but you want to break the rhythm up. They did what they needed to tonight. That's an example of how they can get it done. Again, in a game where they scored 129 points. The Suns usually can drag teams into the water and they'd be around 114 in terms of their score to win the game. They went and got this one in a high-octane, high-scoring fashion.
Think about some of the really great players the Suns have completely thrown off this year. Luka, Cade, Wemby, Giannis. Like the list goes on and on, right?
Throw
Jalen
Anthony
Brunson,
Edwards on that list too.
Anthony Edwards, like they have had it, and
Throw
that's
Shea on that list.
it's big for the players, but like that's also a huge testament to Jordan Ott and preparation. And again, it reaffirms this feeling of, hey, when this team is in a playoff series or a play-in game, they are going to have something to counter whatever is thrown at them, and they're going to be prepared. We talked about how Sunday felt like a playoff game, right? And it was this huge win against the Hornets. The Suns defended their asses off, and boom, they got it done. A lot of the times teams get that win, they go on the road, first game road trip, maybe they slip a little bit, right? But real teams that can like adapt into a playoff atmosphere and stay in that mindset come out and do what they did tonight against Milwaukee, which is weather the storm and walk away with a 15-point victory without two of your starters. Because that's still what we're talking about here. A team without Dillon Brooks and Mark Williams, two guys that start when this team is fully healthy. That is wildly impressive.
Well, and, a week ago, it felt like, okay, maybe not even a week ago, it felt like, okay, there's some dark clouds. You've got the loss to the Bulls. You've got what went on with Dillon Brooks and all that. And it starts to go, is this finally the point where it's just too much? Mark Williams' injury happened within that 24 hours as well. And what do? They come back and respond. And they've responded in a big way over the last handful of games to go, you know what? No, just like every step of the way this year, there is not something that's going to completely derail us. We are going to come out, play our game, play with our mentality. And they did it again tonight. And that's how you wind up with a 15-point win.
And those ebbs and flows happen in the course of an 82-game season. I think that's when we talked about our panic meter and talked about, is it time to hit the panic button and all of these things. We were just like, man, the Knicks had this type of stretch in January to end the last calendar year. All these teams who are still sitting relatively pretty in their respective situations have that. Nobody's going to have, the Thunder have had that happen to them this year. Throughout the course of an 82-game marathon, there are going to be points in time which things happen, and it happens on and off the court. It comes in the form of injury adversity. It comes in the form of losing games that you have no business losing. But what defines the team is what we're seeing now. How you respond to that. Are you going to just fold and mail it in, or are you going to look yourself in the mirror and say, who are we? This is who we are, and that's what this Suns team has done.
There are two words that I would use to describe this team.
Dog.
I said two words.
What's the other one? I gave you one.
Paul and Steve Nash must
I
be
just
TV.
it was one for you. I gave you alley for the other.
I was trying to alley-oop it to you because the words I was going to say, Stephen, were blue collar, and we're going to talk about it.
I thought you had two separate. Okay, blue collar.
Blue
works.
collar, and we'll talk about it. Whatever, on the other
So
side.
you dribbling off your leg.
Whatever, man. I hate you, Steven, but I don't hate Casamigos tequila, and I don't hate the World Cup, and I love when I compare those two things together, because you can bring your friends, your fans, and like Steven, your frenemies together for one Casamigos marg at a time. No matter who you're supporting, say cheers to the Casamigos Margarita. Pair your new World Cup watch party food with a delicious new, ready-to-enjoy margarita from Casamigos, made with best, simple ingredients that you can find. Blanco tequila, lime juice, and natural flavors. They're sure to rival any of your favorite hangout spots. Uncork, pour over ice, and garnish with a lime. It's delicious. I know that it's getting a little bit hotter outside here in Phoenix, which it's only going to get hotter. And there are some drinks that you drink in the winter time, and there are some drinks that you enjoy when it gets a little warmer. That's Casamigos. That is a margarita. Just 110 calories per serving, and they use real juice. Two flavors, classic lime and spicy. Casamigos, a drink of the World Cup. Whether you're at your favorite spot or stocking up at home, make sure you make it Casamigos. And if you are staying home and enjoying responsibly, make sure you indulge in some Pure Edibles. Pure Edibles, founded in Arizona and available in 130 dispensaries statewide. They are not like your other edibles and gummies because they're not just tasting like weed and coated in sugar. No, they actually taste delicious. They taste like candy. But it's not all about the taste, because that's not why they're edibles. What they do is they blend CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC to give you the exact effect that you want, and you know how you're going to feel. I was talking to Dimebacks host Derek Montilla earlier today, and that guy knows a thing or two about weed. And he was talking about sometimes when you're getting weed, it's, okay, I'm getting told it's indica, it's sativa. And then I don't know.
The mayor of the sticky icky.
For real though. And he's like, sometimes I don't know how it's gonna make me feel. That's never a problem with Pure Edibles. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
The mayor of the devil's lettuce.
Yes. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that join button to become a member like so many of you in chat and get access to exclusive emojis like a blue collar emoji that's in our chat right now, exclusive content like a PHNX Suns extra mailbag every time that we record that, and you get a prepaid super chat for every single month that you renew as a member. It's only $5. It pays for itself, and you also get a nice little badge and a green name in chat so you can feel extra special. And we can always call these players
You do it
extra
now, you
special.
get an MVP chant.
That's true. You also get an MVP chant. Or you could choose, or you can get a blue collar chant if you would like a blue collar chant.
Oh, we got a coordinate.
Yeah, we got
Blue collar.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Blue collar.
I don't know if that one's doing it for
Blue
I
collar.
don't know if that one's doing it
Steven,
for me.
blue
I
collar.
don't know if that one's doing it for me.
Can
I was
clip
saying
that?
maybe if we
Can
do
we
blue
clip that
collar
out of context?
if we just give them a bunch of dog barks, I think that would be better.
Oh, I don't think you want me to do that.
No.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can
you can-
No.
you can go
Can I
blue
like meow
collar
or something?
You go blue collar and we'll just bark.
If you
can do
if
that.
you bark, we're gonna have to take you to the vet because that did not sound right.
All right, let's get to our blue collar boy of the night. It's a guy who we've been talking about for a while now. Let's give it to the rookie, Mr. Rasheer Fleming. 4 points for him, 6 rebounds tonight, 4 of those rebounds offensive, and a plus 11 on the court. He was great tonight. He played good defense. The rebounds were fantastic. I know we've been talking about him starting, but once again, Steven, the most important thing is that he's in the conversation. I'm sorry, I got derailed. So Kara gifted a membership. Kara gifted, so let's go MVP, okay?
MVP.
The person who got gifted. The person who got gifted is somebody who's in the chat. LA Clippers Nation 2019, who is now a Spurs fan, by the way.
Oh my God, that
And
is
changed to a Spurs happy.
spectacular.
By far and away, my favorite troll that we have in here.
Nah, shout out
think they just
Karen,
broke the
shout out
fourth
Karen
wall,
the GOAT. Karen the GOAT.
Karen the
That's
GOAT.
crazy.
Broke
So
character.
funny, bro.
Nah.
There are so many people in here who watch every single day who do not get gifted a membership, and this troll gets one.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
Love
That's
it.
hilarious.
Dude, use the emojis. You know what? You're funny, dog. I like you. Even though you came into the ASU chat and were strolling. That is awesome.
That's funny.
That's
Steven,
hilarious.
you know who else is awesome?
Yeah.
Rasheer Fleming.
Indeed, he is. Rasheer had himself a game tonight. I like that there's a solid bit of trust being extended for him now from Jordan Knott. We've talked about the small ball lineups that they used in the first half to end the half, and then obviously even more so in the second half to bridge the gap between the third quarter and fourth quarter, especially. But when you look at him and his impact within that, he's doing a solid job switching and being able to guard bigs in the paint as you saw Milwaukee bring their both Giannis and Miles Turner back onto the floor. And Jordan Knott says, that's fine. We're still going to continue to do what showed us to get this lead. And Rasheer Fleming is heavily involved in a lot of that. And then just him finding ways to have impact. Fourth quarter comes in, they bring in Giannis and Miles Turner to try to stop the Suns' run with the small ball unit. He goes and grabs an offensive rebound, kicks it out, immediately flows and sets the screen for Haywood Highsmith. Grayson Allen, as he sees Rasheer set that screen for Highsmith on the other side, reads the angle, drives that with intention to then hit the skip pass to Highsmith. He knocks down the 3, and the Suns continue on with that run. Those moments really matter because it feels like Rasheer is not only understanding the pockets where he can have that impact, but it feels like his teammates are also seeing that he's capable of doing these things, and they're kind of reading those things in succession with him making plays.
Yeah, and the way he continues to learn on the job and grow in these games has been great. And yeah, sure, he didn't have the point impact tonight, but you didn't need him to. He came in and he was playing quality defense. And I thought it was exactly what you were hoping to be able to get from him at some point this season. He's coming in and doing it. Couldn't be more happy about it and the way he's growing. By the way, Maze Devil, buy your membership, your Supporters Club membership. I'll Venmo you $5. I'll gift it to you that way.
I was going to say, too, real quick on Rasheer. Second on the team in rebounds today. And he also only had 2 fouls in his 17 minutes. And that is a trend that I feel like is as important as any. You see the defensive impact. You can only be as impactful on that end as you're available for your team. And it's not because of injuries for him. It's more so because of fouls. He's only had one blemish in terms of foul trouble in this kind of 9 to 10 game stretch where he's been consistently in the rotation for them. That's one of the hardest things for a rookie, especially one that's good defensively, to learn how to deal with. We saw Ryan Dunn deal with those struggles a whole lot last season and even earlier this year as far as understanding what's a foul for you and what's not a foul. Rasheer's only had one hiccup as far as that goes. He quickly rerouted, got back to where he needs to be, and I don't think he's picked up more than 2 fouls in the 17 minutes on average that he's had outside of that game against, I think it was the Bulls where he picked up 3.
And it would have been an easy night to pick those up
100%,
out there
yes.
for sure. So.
Yes.
To partly echo what you guys were saying and build on that as well, I guess in my own words, thinking about how well he had shot the ball and how that was a big part of what we were saying about how he was coming into his own as a scorer. And oftentimes we kept saying, hey, it's more than just a shooting and shot making and scoring ability. A game in which he only made one shot and it was that transition dunk, and he only made 2 free throws, finished with 4 points. He showed the breadth of the impact. You talked about the offensive rebounding. There was one play that stands out to me. I believe it was Jang got an offensive board, and I remember saying during the watch along, well, what happened?
I'm sorry, man.
There we go.
Sorry.
There we go.
I was trying to help Hayes. I thought he was going to
my damn mind. Asphalt gives a membership and it goes to Fifi Geeky, also known as Fufu Goof. Come
on, man.
MVP.
So I know that we have another blue collar boy that we're talking about, and I'm so sorry that I've just been over here losing my mind. You guys have been very intelligently talking about Rasheer Fleming, but I need to give an impromptu blue collar boy to the freckled mamba behind the Mac, because he's noticed that I have been losing my mind over here, and he's been staying on the 2 shot. But part of the reason why I've been losing my mind is because he's losing his mind, and he's dying laughing behind the Mac because Clippers Nation keeps on kicking the emojis, and he's just picking the funniest ones, dog. The first one was the facepalm emoji, and I started crying. Like, my head hurts because I'm laughing. And I see Gil over here. Gil's trying not to laugh, but I see him smiling, so I get my shit together, and I look over at Gil, and I start dying laughing again because he's holding it in. I'm dying.
The only way this could have been funnier is if only Suns fans got that gifted membership.
Oh my God, dog! I'm so and now Clippers Nation is like, I love the Suns. The Suns are my favorite team.
What a fun community we've established.
Y'all winning is fun, ain't it, y'all? Winning is fun.
Sorry, Gil.
38 times. Plenty more to go. Plenty more to go.
God.
Oh, my
I'm so
goodness.
sorry. Can we name our other blue collar boy of the night? He's a blue collar guy because his name is Haywood Highsmith, or
Yes, sir.
Or as the Bucks broadcast called him, or the PA called him, Haywood Smith.
Sure.
Who?
Exactly.
Highwood Haysmith?
Well, they learned who Haywood Highsmith was tonight. Now, in classic blue collar fashion, Haywood Highsmith.
They already knew.
That is true.
They were true. Yeah.
Not a crazy statistical night for Haywood Highsmith. 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Did have 2 steals. Had a huge 3 there in the second half. But Gil, man, Haywood Highsmith has fit like a glove with this team.
This is exactly what we expected to see from him once he eventually got more than 2 seconds of playing time with this team. Once they put him in the rotation, and the fact that we talked about it, you asked you pregame, Steven, who was your lockdown lineup, and some of the things that we pointed out that he could do. I remember when he first joined the team, I put together all the threes he made. I think he had a 5 3-pointer game last year in the first round of playoffs against the Cavs. You put together a lot of his, just the ruckus he causes defensively, the disruption that he causes, and seeing him play off of guys. He's now made big key plays, game-winning plays in small margins in the last 2 games that he's been out there, and that's just another guy to have in the arsenal, a different look to have. And one of the things that we said with this Bucks team, who is talented, top-heavy, they did not have the depth, especially with the guys who were out tonight. And you see the Suns are just relentless with different guys. And on any given night, it could be different guys. And tonight, it was Haywood Highsmith, and I'm really happy for him because he probably went to the locker room and found out the news that his favorite football team missed out on the pass rusher he thought they had.
Chill out, bro. You didn't have to. You just.
He's right here, man.
Wait, what happened?
He's right here. Knock
I'm
it
kidding.
off. The poor man's been.
Did you
through
see?
enough.
Okay, it could be worse though. Did you see that somebody tweeted a while ago? If the Ravens trade for Max Crosby, I'm going to shave my head.
Hopefully, the
And
dude
then-
already did.
No, and then he
did.
shaved his
Yeah,
head
he
this
did.
morning.
Ah.
He did.
I mean, technically, they did trade for
And
him.
they didn't. And
I
Max
mean,
Crosby
they
recorded a
did.
13-minute goodbye video to the. Oh my God, we are so
Anyway.
off the
Hey,
rails.
Could Haywood wind up being the most savvy move of a group of extremely savvy moves that
Yes.
have led to this point? Because he feels like the kind of guy that could tip a scale in a game that is vastly important over the end of this season and into the play-in/playoffs.
Yes, and that's why I said I can see where he could start for this team as soon as the end of this season, once he got his feet under him, got acclimated to the style of play, the language as far as calls, and all of the different things that are chemistry building when you're coming into a new team.
Yeah.
That's not, I feel like everybody's starting to kind of see that a little bit more without having to question it much, because you see the defensive impact. I'm looking forward to tomorrow updating this blue collar boy spectrum.
Ooh.
We have a lot of fun to get to with that in particular, but keeping it specific to Haywood, he's someone that was already going to start top 5, just off of his body of work coming into the Suns. And to even add to your point, what you're saying, yes, that's not something that's surprising. It's something that could be expected, and it's something that he simply just does wherever he goes.
We have it. It happened.
It worked.
Espo
Yes.
gifted a membership, and it got to
Yay.
Bees Demo.
Hey.
And let's not forget, Bees also gifted a membership, and TCG gets it, who's an
Look
OG.
at that.
So we need 6
There we
MVP
go.
chants.
MVP, MVP,
MVP, MVP, MVP.
There we go.
MVP.
man.
That was
We got
5.
there.
Espo.
I know. I
Take back the MVP.
Want to be
chant.
different.
Wow, what a
we go.
show, huh? What a show. Blue collar boy of the
Good.
night to Espo, to the chat, to the freckled Mamba, and I'd like to give some love to Collin Gillespie, who quietly.
No. No. Nope. Dude sold my bet. I'm no longer.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Missed
Welcome to
it.
negative
Missed
300
on
with
three.
the slums, Espo.
Nope. Connor, sorry. No.
Collin Gillespie almost had a triple-double tonight.
He did.
12 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals.
Yep.
That needs to be talked about more.
Yeah, like that's a really good
That
game.
needs to be talked
He
about
knocked
more.
down-
Missed your fourth quarter.
And he also knocked down 4 more threes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the total is for 4 3-pointers made games for him this season, but he continues to just find ways to provide impact for this team at the most timely and most situational of moments. Whether it's a
Win.
literal game winner, or it's just in the game, in the flow of a game, and they need a run, or they need to spark a run, or stave a team off. Here comes that pesky Gillespie knocking down threes. That's just what he does.
Yeah. He continues to show night in, night out. Yeah, maybe I'll score 30 one night. Maybe I'll do all the little things another night. And again, just the mentality of this team.
Yep.
So many guys built the same way. They obviously had a very specific blueprint of the type of player they wanted on this roster, and it has paid off, and it has paid off in a big way.
Collin Gillespie is Mr. Fourth Quarter. Collin Gillespie is also on pace to break the PHNX Suns record for most three-pointers made in a single season.
Yep.
Do you guys know off the top of your head who holds that
I
record?
saw it earlier, so I'm going to
Did you see it earlier?
Yeah, Barbosa.
No.
Brazilian blur, sir.
No.
Oh,
That's not true.
Who is it?
It's Quentin Richardson.
Oh, it is
Q.
Q. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
It is Q.
That
That's
makes
right.
sense.
That's
Which-
right. That's
Which
right.
is crazy when you think
That is
about
right.
it.
Well,
Like Quentin-
ahead of his time.
It's been a
That is
long time. Like all of the 3-point leaders in a season have come from, I believe, like before 2020.
That's
Which
actually
is
pretty
super
wild.
strange. Like besides
But-
Grayson.
but
Grayson, I
because
think,
of
is
the
second.
Mike D'Antoni era.
Yeah, of
Mike-
course.
yeah.
I think Grayson second. Besides that, everybody's, I think, come from pre-2020. But Collin Gillespie in a contract year, his first year on a standard contract. I know we say it over and over again, and we're just used to it at this point. But as the smallest guy on the court, consistently grabs rebounds, including offensive rebounds, 2 of those tonight. And he is not just one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He's one of the best shooters in the league because he's added a complete mid-range bag as well. And he does it all in the fourth quarter. Like, this is a guy who hit a huge 3 against Charlotte on Sunday, literally iced the game, put the nail in the coffin. And then tonight, it's like, boom, you're in the fourth quarter, Collin's hitting a couple big 3s, and all of a sudden the Suns are up 15 points in the fourth quarter. This dude rocks. He's awesome.
64 games played for Gillespie. 26 games with 4 or more threes.
crazy.
Wait, hold on. Let's get the percentage of
Well,
that real quick.
And what did he play before? He
Before-
it was like 50 games or something. Was his
40% of his games?
Yes.
Yeah.
40% of his games. He's
Yes.
had 4+ threes.
Yes, and before this season, he only played 50. Well, he started in 53 games coming into this season.
Yeah.
So for him to be doing the things that he's doing, it says a lot about the culture and how important he is to what it is they're working to build. And we've seen bits of the successes with Collin in respect to other individuals show up in their respective games. Dillon Brooks' career best percentage from inside the three-point line, especially from the mid-range, in isolation and with post-ups. Jordan Goodwin, offensive rebounds and threes. Ryan Dunn on the offensive rebound rate has been elite this season. Also, Iguodala, Mark Williams has had bouts with season career best type percentages. That's not by happenstance that all of these things are happening and also happening in succession with one another. That is a mark of a good team and a great ecosystem that's being established.
Good team, great ecosystem, the system of development, the system of belief in guys, which, as you outlined and named a couple of players who are doing these things that they can continue to replicate and they can continue to do. And I think that should, again, inspire confidence when you kind of widen the lens to other guys who are going to come into their own in their own way, similar to how Collin has become who he is. This team is bringing in guys that have all won at various levels and they know how to do things. So that is, again, in the small picture, the short term, when you think about the final 17 games of this season and the postseason run that this team is primed to go on. It's exciting for that. It's exciting for the player development, for the young pieces, for your franchise's future. And it's exciting for the guys who you will eventually bring in, even with the limitations that you have about bringing talent in. And that's called having a successful organization and a strong foundation.
Mind you, this is all happening within the first, 7 months of Jordan not actually being the head coach.
Yep. Ain't a coincidence.
So he had, for all intents and purposes, experience is not in his favor.
Right.
But to have all the, and I don't want to say this is all him because obviously it's the delegates that he's put in positions as well as Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia being involved with it as well. But to quickly reroute from what was last season, what was the other side of July, to what's been since July, this is a Herculean effort, like I said a couple of days ago on our 3 p.m. show.
I think back to at Summer League talking to Kenny Atkinson about Jordan Knott, and I brought up the fact that there were people who doubted about the Michigan State stuff. And he just laughed. Like his first initial reaction was laughing. And I think it was like at that point, it was like, oh, if Kenny Atkinson's first reaction to that is just like, nah, y'all got a good one. He says the cream rises to the top, which is very funny because his other assistant coach was also in contention for the job. And he was like, but he basically said the best guy got it. Right. And Jordan Knott has done nothing but prove that this season.
Well, with Ott and Brian Gregory, the moment I knew that they were built for it was when they were asked in their press conferences about the Michigan State thing. And they both were pissed. You could tell, like it was with Gregory, you could tell it was, how dare you question a 30+ year career in this business? Sure, I haven't been the GM, but I know basketball. And then with Ott, when that was brought up in the press conference, and you saw that moment where I mean, you could tell it bothered him, like that the insinuation was just because he had 3 letters on his resume, he got this job, despite all the work he had put in from MSU to Atlanta and all the other stops in his coaching career. That's what I knew. When you have that fire, and even that insinuation gets you fired up, and it's not like you just brush it off. No, it burns inside you. I love that. So
rarely will I try to speak on account of especially those guys, but a little bit of Homer, but also a different perspective on it too. Like, it's not like Michigan State is some like run of the mill. You feel me? This is not. This is one of the staples of college basketball. You don't get there. You don't get to having to be associated with that team, with the guy that's in charge of things there, if you're not a dog in some capacity. And I think having that connection should have been something that's lauded more than it is kind of looked at in a negative light. And I think we're seeing some of the benefits of just knowing at your foundation level what a culture looks like and what it takes to uphold the principles that lead to sustained success. That's not something that you can like fake the funk with. You either know it or you don't. And it's very clear that they have a template for success to base things off of. Complete different game on the professional side, but there's still things that are consistent with winning cultures and winning franchises. And they're finding little bits of that early on.
We have yet another MVP in the chat.
Let's go.
This time, Tracy Esposito gifts 5 PHNX Sports memberships. So, MVP, MVP, MVP.
MVP.
I think
we're not doing it. We're not doing it 50.
No, we keep going.
I think we blew the family budget on for gifted
on
memberships
basketball
tonight.
hoops for the office and on gifted memberships.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say that part.
I will say there's a lot of green in the chat, which is just awesome. There's a ton of names that are green. If you want to become a member, go become a member. It's obviously worth it, or else people would not be gifting these memberships because they're fun.
Again, the community that we, and I say we, not just us up here as well as Ayrton, but y'all, because y'all play an even bigger part in it than we do. The community that we are establishing is something special, no different than the culture that the Suns are establishing. We're doing it off of our own merits. We're all blue-collar boys and girls in our own respects, and we just really appreciate all of y'all and what you bring to the table, because I know a lot of y'all been at work all day. Some of y'all might still be at work now. Some of y'all got kids to tend to, and y'all still find time every day after every game, pre and post game for a lot of y'all, to just show up and just show some love. We really do appreciate that.
Yes.
You could sense it tonight too. Like obviously there was a lot going on in the sports world. The Suns start off a 6-game road trip. We're watching Bam make history. I'm freaking out over Wake Forest basketball, but
yes, the big three.
Campaign had 30 and 30.
Campaign had 30.
32 and 10.
That's crazier than Bam scoring 83, to be honest.
Weird night in sports.
That's crazy. But like we're all like going through these moments during our watch along and like having back and forth and talking about this and getting inspiration, sometimes stealing people's comments and this to say on the screen.
Oh, who?
That's a crazy stray.
Who would that?
Crazy stray.
We couldn't do it without
the guy that's called me a snake, which is impressive, man.
But we couldn't do it without y'all.
We got another green name in chat. Shout out to Matthew. Matthew, who's always around here. So we got to do it again.
MVP, MVP, MVP.
There was some gusto to that one.
Not for sure.
Fun tonight.
Well, guess what? We're having fun tonight. And then we're back tomorrow for a 3 p.m. show. And then this road trip continues against the Indiana Pacers. Another must-win game on Thursday. So, of course, we're back for a pregame, a watch-along, and a post-game show. But to put a bow on tonight's game, the Suns' 129-114 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. A game that all of us were like, they have to win this game, especially when you lose a game to Chicago earlier. You got to keep on stacking wins against teams below you in standings. That's who the Milwaukee Bucks are. What are your final thoughts on this game before we get out of here and then come back tomorrow to talk about a whole lot of good stuff with Suns basketball?
You are turning the corner. The job is nowhere near finished. Build on this. You've won 3 in a row. You have another game that you need to go get on Thursday. Do what you need to do in between now and then and keep building.
Yeah, I mean, just keep playing like this. The last
please.
The last 2 games have been exactly what you built this entire 38 wins on. Is exactly the way you've approached it, the way you said you wanted to, and it's why we have had so much fun as fans, as people that cover this team, is because of the way you've been playing. So keep it up, because good things have happened every time you've gone out there and played hard-nosed defense and just put the effort out there.
Season high 24 threes made for the Suns tonight. 33 assists. Talked about them being 21-2 when they get to 26 or more. They also had 23-point assists, which ties for their second best mark this season. Also had 86 assist points created, which ties for their second best mark this season as well. Those are boxes that if they can check them off even close to those in succession with one another, it's going to be a win for them, because those are offensive numbers that align with that part of their identity. But the identity stamping side is defense. And a lot of the things they did offensively stemmed from the sustained success they found on defense.
Nobody's going to want to play this team in the playoffs. Nobody's going to want to play this team in the play-in. They're doing this, again, without Dillon Brooks, who this entire season has been the Suns' second-best player, and without Mark Williams, who we've seen when he's been out that the Suns do miss him a little bit. Want to give a little love to Kaman Malawach, who
Yes.
had a solid game offensively tonight with 8 points. Nothing else. No rebounds for him, no assists for him, but I still
The
think
rim protection was there.
the rim protection was definitely there for him. Not a great game from Oso for the second game in a row, and Kaman has stepped in beautifully. I think that he is just quietly improving, and the Phoenix Suns are trusting him a little bit more as well, which is a very big deal. So just keep your eye on that. You don't need him to come out here and have 30 and 15 with 8 blocks in order for him to be worthy of the 10th overall pick. He's improving. I'd like to give some love to that. This is just a fun team, man, and I really enjoy it. They're well coached. They play hard, but at the end of the day, they're also really talented and really deep. We haven't even talked about Grayson Allen tonight, and we're not going to. He had 12 points. Like, he had 12 points tonight. He had a really solid game.
We're not going to, but then he starts.
No, but like we're not gonna like dive into it. Jordan Goodwin was back tonight.
Yes.
Didn't even talk about him really in this post game that much, right? Like, there were so many great parts about tonight's game, and there will be continuing to have different guys step up going forward. So let's get out of here reading a couple of super chats. We appreciate everybody who sends their super chats here. First one from Smooth Criminal 199 super chat says, "I was wrong on Green and Book. Let's see consistency."
Yep.
Well, I mean, they still got a lot of work to do,
Mm-hmm.
but this is a step in the right direction for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we got Kev. What's up, Kev? With a $2 super chat says, "Green pointing emote equals troll of the year." It's up there. It's a
up
moment.
there. It's up there for sure.
It's a moment that transcends just the Suns.
And that's the edge part that we were talking about with them getting Dillon and Jalen.
Yes.
That's a difference from what was, and I mean this respectfully, a crop of nice guys that were on the roster last season. You got guys that will toe that line, if not go over it at times, but it's for the betterment of competitive advantage.
AJ at the buzzer becomes a member. Let's go.
MVP, MVP, MVP.
AJ, I tell you what you get, but you're always in chat so that you know. And people have been asking, how do I become a member? You have to hit the subscribe button. And right after you hit the subscribe button, where it usually is, there is a join button. So make sure you hit that join button, or you can be gifted one randomly. You do have to toggle on a setting that allows you to get gifted memberships. Usually when that happens in chat, it gives you an option like, hey, people are gifting memberships. Do you want to be eligible to receive one in the future? But it is totally random. People cannot choose. But you could choose to hit that join button for just $5 a month. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, become a diehard for just $36 for an entire year, and get access to even more Suns content, plus so much more with PHNX Sports, because we're not just Suns. We're Cardinals, we're Diamondbacks, we're ASU, we're U of A, we're Rising. We are the #1 destination for Arizona sports fans right here. Make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you're following the show at PHNX_Suns. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. Of course, shout out to the Freckled Mamba behind the Mac, our blue collar boy of the night. You can follow him at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH, because he balances us out, and he's in studio. Yay!
For like a week.
Hey, that's like the longest stretch we've gotten in 2026, so we're happy
Nice.
about that. You can follow Espo at Espo. Catch him on Southwest Bias every weekday morning. And guess what, Espo? You have more than 12 hours
I do.
before you have to be back.
I'm go home, clean the house, go to sleep.
Wow.
Get a good night's rest.
What a
You still
night.
got enough time to do all of that
I got-
before it gets late.
Yeah, I got big plans.
What a night for Espo. Follow him at Espo. Follow Gil at Gil McGregor _ You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. We'll be back tomorrow talking more about the most fun team in basketball.
Ahoy ho!
We all silly like the mayor.